This week's episode is brought to you by NYXI and their Hyperion Pro Joy-Cons for Nintendo Switch. The Hyperion Pro is the best Joy-Con replacement we've tested to date. They look fantastic, they feel better than stock Joy-Cons, and the Hall effect sticks ensure longevity of them will outlast Nintendo's offering, as well as other third-party brands that still suffer with the dreaded drift issues. The super comfortable and ergonomic grip allow for easy long-time gaming. The programmable RGB lights mean you can customize the controller to your particular taste, and the gamer's reflex macro buttons are available to give you an edge. Plus, the GameCube-inspired purple option and the green Legend of Zelda-inspired variant really make the controller stand out. All this, and using promo code PvP, you can get 10% off. Head over to NYXIGame.com or use the link in the description. Hello, welcome to Podcast First Player, episode 295. I'm one of your hosts, Cal, and as always, I'm joined by a man who asked me why do ducks have tails? To hide their butt quacks.
That's a silly little joke, isn't it?
Butt quacks is amazing.
That's an incredible pun.
Danny Bloody Dan.
Bonjour.
Bonjour. It is Thursday again, Dan. This seems to be our new day.
It shouldn't be, but yes, it is.
No, it shouldn't be. But for good reasons on both accounts.
Yes, absolutely.
But we missed a thing today. I didn't realise till we were just about to start this, but there was some Xbox show was on at 6 o'clock.
What?
Yeah, we missed it.
There's a showcase this year. We watched it.
It was it's like it was called something else, but it was like mostly indie stuff. So more like indie showcase, and then some high-profile stuff like new Alan Wake DLC, etc.
Right. Okay. But to be fair, like whenever the sort of like the more indie-ish stuff pops up on Game Pass, it's always a bit of a treat. So I'm just sort of like, oh, okay. If I'm not expecting anything, then I won't have any high hopes, or it won't be. Oh my god, I can't believe it. I've got to wait 6 months for something that looks like that.
Well, I don't know it didn't say anything about Game Pass. It just said Xbox Series S and X. But Phasmophobia is heading its way. So
that's old.
It is old, but it's a game that I really wanted to play with you, but obviously because you refused to buy it. Mm-hmm. But if it's on Game Pass,
that.
Yeah.
I mean, my rule has always been I refuse to pay for a game that's going to scare me.
Exactly. But you've been playing Resident Evil and stuff.
That's true. And the only reason I've been playing them is because they're on Game Pass, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose that logic works out okay.
So that was my thinking. It also might not come to Game Pass, and it might just be on Xbox and Series S.
Or it may only be... Yeah, it might not come into PC Game Pass, is what you mean.
Potentially, yeah. Mm-hmm. Or all. What was really revealed that is, I assume, will come to Game Pass, but there's a brand new like a dragon, which is the old Yakuza games. Only
Funnily
this time,
enough.
you're a pirate, Daniel.
What, like
it looks better than Ubisoft's pirate game.
Skull and Bones.
Skull and Bones, in every sense of the word.
I wonder how that's doing.
I assume it's closed down and bankrupted.
I don't think so.
But, yeah, it looks great. It's like a dragon pirate something in Hawaii. It's the most bonkers trailer I've ever seen.
So we've actually, as part of a new series, the Game Pass surprised me. The next one that was on there, which you're doing, which we were going to do this week if it wasn't for a few bits and pieces, was actually Like a Dragon. And you said this is more sort of like a bit more wacky than just the standard Yakuza ones. And I was like, okay, well, this might be the one that gets me a bit more keen on the franchise. Like, cause it's not that I've got anything against it. It's just it's never really seemed like it's my kind of cup of tea. It's a bit wacky, but not in the way that I like it. As sort of like a silly slapstick kind of game. But having when we are doing Like a Dragon, if I think, oh, you know what, maybe this is all right actually, I would play it properly and kind of get into it. And something like that, where it's a Hawaii Pirates 5-0 or whatever.
Not without the 5-0, but yeah, I see where you go.
That I'd sort of like, do you know what? Sure.
Yeah, it looks crazy.
I like the silly one, so another one that's a bit more silly than that, that's all in Hawaii or whatever. Sure, I'll do that.
The actual boat stuff looks really good, like the boat fighting and
Wait, so sorry. This isn't Yakuza just dressed as pirates playing in Hawaii.
No,
It's all set.
You're on a big
the, like,
pirate ship. You've got crew sailing the seven seas, boarding other ships, stealing the loot. Go into like this big pirate casino island thing where you assume you're going to trade in bounties and whatnot. It looks fucking bonkers.
I mean, that sounds very similar to Black Flag in a lot of the ways.
Oh yeah, but in a more Jack Sparrow kind of pirate. He looks. Again, I don't know the story. I don't know the story to most of the Like a Dragon titles because they are all fucking insane. But you've got this like tattooed guy on the shore. Someone, and it looks like modern age because they've got like a water thermos.
What?
So
are they on boats? What?
That's what I mean. And he like giving him water, and he's just like, oh, fucking hell. And then next thing you know,
they're on like a big pirate galleon.
No. That's just
Sails.
the start of the trailer. He's just washed up on shore, and then they give him some water, and then the next thing you know, he's putting a pirate hat on. He's got a big fucking boat. He's fucking shooting people. It was a really cool bit where I don't know what they're called, but it would be one of the ropes that would do one of the sails, and he's cut it, and then he's like swinging around and then shooting people as he's swinging.
No, that's what I mean. Why are they on a boat with sails on it?
No idea. It could.
That's not how you. That's not how you pirate in these days.
That he dies, and it's all in his head. Like maybe he's in a coma, and this is all in his head. I don't know. I honestly have no idea.
They've got a big pirate ship. I mean, that's very Japanese, isn't it? They've got a big pirate ship. They're all flouncy dress, all wearing flouncy dresses, but they've all got mobile phones and laptops.
I don't know about the modern age that side of it because all the pirates you see, they look like stuff that would be in like Sea of Thieves and shit.
Are you sure this isn't? It's not that episode of South Park where Cartman decides he wants to be a pirate and goes off to Somalia.
I mean,
and like starts as like a proper Yar Jack Sparrow kind of pirate.
It could be like a non-canon South Park episode set in Japan, but yeah,
sure.
It looks cool, man. It looks really cool.
Okay,
I hope that does come to Game Pass. But yeah, most of the other stuff, like say Alan Wake DLC, some more stuff for I can't remember the name, but it's the third-person fighting game with the monkey that everybody's going mental over.
Black Wukong.
Yes, some update for that.
Cool.
That Mouse PI game.
The first-person black and white.
Nice trailer for that one. That looks pretty smart. Yep. Everything else was a bit fine. There's some cycling game that looks just like you just cycle around with a skeleton skull. Like I have no idea what it is, but the entire trailer was just cycling.
Right.
So I don't know whether it's just like a therapeutic
trail
game.
Riders or whatever it's called.
Not even that, just more
Rider
like
Republic.
You're in like a town and just milling about.
You sure it's not like a skate Tony Hawk's kind of thing where it's like a free roam BMXing kind of thing?
Could be without all of the tricks and stuff. It looked a bit boring. I've given that Riders Republic a go though. It's quite good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw that popped up on Game Pass one.
Yeah, I did the free roam thing. What I do like is kind of like a weapon wheel. You can select what you're doing. So 1 minute you can be like, you got a squirrel suit and you're just gliding around and whatnot. And then you select like a snow buggy and then you just go poof, and then drop to the floor. You can drive around.
Really?
Yeah, it's quite cool.
That sounds pretty cool, actually.
Physics and stuff, it's very...
it's
I
not
wouldn't
a
say
simulator kind of thing.
No, it's your traditional like just tap to go faster and you're pedaling and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But there's also one that's similar to a squirrel suit, but it's got like jets. It's got like little mini jet engines, so you can fly properly.
Yeah, the thruster suit.
Yeah.
I think the Navy's got one, I think.
I don't know what it's actually called because it's called something that's not real in this, but you can switch to them. Yeah, it's good. I mean, it just seems like a fun. I don't know what the actual game's like. This is just the free roam where you just piss about, do what you want. So, worth a shot.
Give that a little go, mate. You've actually just talked me into that. It sounds like a little bit of mooch about kind of fun.
Yeah, we were doing. It's the new Snow Runner one, but it's in the Mud Runner expeditions or something like that.
Yes, Snow Runners.
Like Logan loves the Snow Runner, Snow and Mud and whatever runner games. So downloaded that, and it's not. it seems like it's gone. Everybody loved the free roam bit because they just drove around and did what the fuck they wanted. So let's do that, but you got to do tasks. And it's like, well, it's not as fun now because it's
well,
not.
The mud runner thing, you still had to make deliveries and stuff, didn't you? Like,
yeah. But like most people except the people that took it seriously, most people that played it just drove around.
Right.
Just exploring at your leisure kind of thing.
Just reversing, like just going forwards and backwards on mud. Just like, look at the physics on the mud. I'm stuck. I can't believe it.
Some of them was like, it was like not as intricate as some of the simulation games we've seen before, but like all in all, like I thought it was quite good physics wise and everything else. So you get a winch and everything else. And
yeah.
Shit.
I played that one, yeah.
But this one is a lot more. You've got a fucking drone, so you can like survey the area and whatnot. So Logan's like, I don't give a fuck about any of this.
Plan your route.
And it is like swap vehicles. Doesn't tell you how to swap vehicles. I went into the controls. Doesn't tell you in the controls. I had to go on
Just
fucking
like in real
YouTube. And it's go to the map, L3, and then select the car you want, and then select it. Right. But it doesn't say it fucking anywhere. Took me ages. Anyway, yeah, it's okay. But we've done that, and then saw that Riders Republic, so I was like, I can give that a go. We enjoyed it. Anyway, we're not going to talk about that because I haven't wrote any of that down. That was all fresh off the top of my head, Dan. James Bond. Don't know if you're familiar with this franchise, Daniel.
I'm in.
The new game from Hitman developer IO. We got a little bit more tidbit of information, Dan. A little bit of slither of news.
Okay, go on.
So back in 2020, IO Interactive revealed it was working on Project 007, the first new James Bond video game for consoles since 007 Legends was released in 2012. A long time ago, Dan.
I thought Bloodstone came out after that, didn't it?
Bloodstone was before.
Was it? Legends, that was the last one.
Not including like the GoldenEye re-release on Switch and Xbox.
No, but that doesn't really count, no. But I've got Legends. I got that for the 360. You tell me there's been no more Bond games since then?
Apparently so.
That's crazy.
Because I remember seeing Bloodstone in maybe...
To be fair, that makes sense because there's one of the DLCs for Legends was the Skyfall episode where you're doing like the bike chase on the rooftops.
Yeah.
I genuinely thought because Nightfire was all right. Not Nightfire, sorry. Bloodstone, sorry. Bloodstone was all right. But I could have sworn that came after. Either way, whichever one it is, and I'm sure you're right. Yeah,
I didn't. I got this off Google.
How has there not been 10 since then?
I know. Why haven't we had a next version of GoldenEye Rogue Agent?
Oh yeah, Rogue Agent 2. But that means that came out on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, and that's 2 more generations of consoles since then, and not a peep.
But to be fair,
with the James Bond Hex.
I mean, no, I don't want.
No.
I was trying to think like, was the Tomb Raider and John Wick one any good? And I'm like, no.
They were fine to a degree, but no, not really.
The way I look at that's a mobile game in my eyes. I know it did come out on PC and consoles, but
I've got John Wick X. Yeah,
it's a mobile game, and it's not one that I'd like to play while I'm having a poo. So it's not a good one in my eyes.
Yeah, that's true.
They're the only kind of games I want to play.
Yeah.
But yes.
Tell me all then. Come on.
So IO Interactive shedding some light on the ambitious plans for Bond, and has hoped for a trilogy that will unveil a new origin story for the world-famous spy. IO Interactive CEO Hakan Abrak said Project 007 won't be based on any of the existing Bond movies. None of them. Instead, the developers being allowed to create its own version of James Bond for the game. So they go on to say they want to do an original story, blah, 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 blah. And with the history...
That feels like it's a get-out-of-jail-free card for them and for MGM.
I think that's good, though. I don't think that's in a good...
No, I agree. I think it's them just saying, we don't really want to be associated with any sort of, like, people going, oh, I don't like these Bonds, or oh, I don't like those movies.
Yeah.
And it's MGM saying that if those games tank, they go, it's got nothing to do with any of the films that we've made, though.
Exactly.
it seems like it's just clear. It's just a clear path for everyone that's just divided from everything that's already existed.
But it's already proven to work in past stuff like NYXI Republic and things like that. Where it's
but like Bloodstone, that was an original story, but it's still obviously Craig Bond. But Nightfire, that was one. What was it? The World Not in the Balls, not enough. Everything or Nothing.
Agent
that
of
was
Fire.
All of those are just sort of like. I mean, they're mainly just sort of like level shooters, but.
Yeah.
It's the story itself. They're usually based on a Brosnan or a Craig Bond.
Yeah.
Because they're the most recent ones. That's weird that. There's all those games. That's 20 years of two guys.
And, well, no, because you've also got... what was the Connery one?
From Russia with Love.
From Russia with Love. There's one extra
I guess, but that just sort of came out of nowhere and they just didn't bother with that at all again, did they?
I liked that. I had that on GameCube. I thought it was quite good.
I had it on the PSP, which is the worst version of it, because like all the driving things...
So you didn't even have any of the car stuff?
No, it's all taken out because they can't do that on a PSP. I've still got it. It's literally in the drawer behind me over there. I've still got it.
Have you got the charger, though?
I think I bodged one. I definitely got it working because I loaded up Crisis Core and it was like, oh, you haven't played this in 8 years or something.
It's got to be longer than that.
No, that was about 6 years ago when
right.
I last turned it on. Okay, but if a trilogy, I mean, that's ambitious. Do one first. Do one in 20 years before you start worrying about 3.
What I think is they're going on what they want to do is a trilogy. So I think it is dependent on the success of this one, whether the other 2 get greenlit. That's the way it reads to me.
I suppose if you write and are greenlit a trilogy, then if you don't have to go, okay, well, we'll release these like one every 18 months or something like that. That way we don't really have to build everything from the ground up the whole time. The driving mechanics will work the same, the fight mechanics will work the same, whatever. There'll be a few more gadgets, there'll be whatever tweaks, but the overall foundations won't change. That way, if they go, sure, we'll fund all 3. And if they don't work, then that's it. You're done. But IO have also, they pump out really good Hitman games.
The new Hitman games are fucking brilliant.
I really, really enjoy them. Yeah,
there's
a lot of detail in it.
To be fair, there's a lot of times where I've sat and watched a Bond film, and the first game I've played is Hitman.
Because it's the closest thing.
And it's not like I don't sit there going, man, this is just like James Bond. It's just it's just that. It's the closest thing we've got without it just being like, I suppose Uncharted would be another runner-up. But
he's not a spy.
No, that's what I mean. It's the feel of Hitman. That's what makes it feel like James Bond.
It's the same. It's like the Metal Gear effect. You're doing it stealthy until you inevitably fuck it up, and then you've got to machine gun everybody to get out of there, and then you just sort of like, fuck it, I'll kill everybody there.
I would hazard a guess to say, again, we've not seen anything other than that very brief trailer with the barrel a couple of years ago. This is going to be, I would hazard a guess that this would be like a mixture of Uncharted and Hitman. So it's going to have that cinematic moments and whatnot. But
I wonder who they're going to mocap for Bond then.
Me?
Do you reckon it's going to be like a book accurate Bond? So it's just like an everyman.
I mean, that's what it should be, but it won't be. Because that ain't going to sell shit.
It'll probably look more. It'll maybe a cross between Brosnan and Craig.
Leon from Resident Evil.
That kind of guy. No, he's too handsome. That's the point. A spy shouldn't be like the most handsome, best person in the room because everyone will go, bloody hell, look at him.
But I assume
as a spy, you don't want that. You want to be the most non-noticed person.
Wasn't it that from Fleming's description in, I don't know whether it's the first book or one of the Bond books, but the closest description to like an actor at the time was, I can't remember the guy's name, but who plays Rorschach in Watchmen.
Haley Joel Osment.
No.
I know that's the kid from AI, but Haley something. Yeah, I know the one you mean. Freddy Krueger in New.
As far as who could we get to play Bond today, he was the closest in terms of like how he's described in the books. And to be fair,
he looks like, especially as Rorschach, he looks like, or what's his face in Preacher. Like, he looks like he's been drinking and smoking. He's the meat guy. He's in the first season as
yes,
the
he
villain
is.
in the
Yeah,
first
he is.
season.
Yeah. Didn't even think about that. But yeah, apparently he's the closest. Which again, he wouldn't pick him out of a crowd as
like. But he's American as well, isn't he?
No, just in like how he looks, features and stuff.
Right. Okay.
But because like you say, you're a spy all over the world. You need to blend in. You need to be the most boring, mundane-looking person.
Not a bald guy in a red tie with a barcode on the back of your neck. You can blend into shit, mate.
But apparently this is because of all the history there is, working together on this with the family of creating a young Bond for gamers.
God, I don't want a hoverboard gadget.
You know what this sounds like, Dan?
Spinning, throwing stars kind of Bond.
This sounds like a game of James Bond Jr., the old animated. Where it is I think James Bond was his uncle, if I remember right.
It depends. Like, if we're doing a young Bond, as in like a Bond year one.
No,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
it'll be like Craig at the start of.
Casino. But don't do it in the modern era. Then you still got to do it in the 60s. So, you can't have cameras on every fucking corner watching you.
I wouldn't. I don't know about 60s. I'd be all right with the 90s.
So sort of like
80s, 90s.
Fringe technology. So yeah, you've got a camera, like a digital camera, but it's a big brick.
Yeah, like
and you've only got 4 photographs before it runs out of battery.
But you haven't got a pen that's also can control your car and all this kind of stuff.
And nano blood and whatever.
Yeah, there's TVs and it's probably, I assume, back then CCTVs as well to a degree. But everything's on a CRT and all the computers have got black screen with green text and everything. It's just, technology's there, it's just not what we've seen in the movies. And to be fair, like most of the Craig ones, with the exception of a few parts, did a good job of that, I feel. But if we're having a young Bond, I don't want a kid. I don't want it to be...
But don't forget Bond, like in Casino Royale, that was his first... He was just given his 00 license.
Yeah.
And he's like 38.
That's what I mean, he needs to be younger than that.
But then, if again, like I know what you're going to say, like that's not supposed to be that same guy or whatever. But you can't just be like an intelligence officer in the Secret Service at 22.
Yeah.
Because you need he's military trained. You need to have that level of believability behind. He's been privately educated. He's come out of that. He's gone into the military. He's worked his way up through the ranks. You can't do that in 2.5 years. Like you've got to be a drinking, smoking, philandering, psychopathic killer before the age of 30. Just doesn't seem realistic to me. Otherwise, you're kind of like in Kingsman territory where it's like, oh, he's 18, but he's also like a super spy.
Yeah, I mean that's where you have to tread your lines on how similar it would be having a young Bond to what's his name, Aaron Egerton. Taron Egerton, yeah. How close it falls on that, because that's basically Bond.
He was still sort of reasonably, sort of like he was in his 40s or whatever, 50s maybe.
I'd say,
late
40s, early 50s, yeah.
But he felt like someone who's been doing that long enough to be that good and that efficient, and know everything, and how to fight and how to hack shit and whatever.
So did who's the British guy who was in Pirates of the Caribbean and Coupling and stuff?
Oh yeah, he gets killed immediately.
Yeah, right at the beginning. But I always thought of him as like that was their cheeky nod to Bond, like the British agent kind of thing. But in the brief bit that we got to see him, he felt like a Bond that he'd seen a bit. He wasn't really old, but he'd seen a fair bit. I mean, he was useless because, like you say, dies immediately. But it's that. It depends how young they're going to go. And, I mean, I'm not going to play it and then go, oh, he's 27, he wouldn't have done all of this by this point. Because...
I just can't, even if like people who come out of the... I mean, again, if they go, it's Bond in name only, and we've moved away from everything in the books as well. He's just a spy who works for the British intelligence. So he just came out of school at 16, straight into the army. He's an absolute prodigy. And, worked his way up through... into the Navy, should I say, sorry. Worked his way up through the ranks incredibly quickly, and just happened to be pulled into the kind of the world of espionage. Like it always felt that Bond was sort of there begrudgingly. Like it felt like he would just be. Like it's lucky that they got him. Otherwise, he would have just been some insane mercenary just going around blowing. He would have been a villain of his own story.
Maybe that's what we get.
He would be his own, super villain controlling the world, that kind of thing.
What if that's what this Bond is?
It won't be.
Obviously not.
it's you still, but then do you have a Jaws? Do you have a Blofeld? Do you have a Moonraker? Do you have a all the kind of the wacky villains? Like a good Bond is only ever as good as their villain. And if you want to steer away from that, well, then you don't use Blofeld, and you don't have Jaws, and you don't have Oddjob.
Yeah.
But then it's always going to come back to this. Then what's the point?
You need because I suppose it's going to depend how they do it. Like
there'll be an Oddjob, and it'll be a woman. I'm calling it now.
I think there will be some gender swapped characters in there. Like, I mean, and I don't know whether we'll see like you say, the likes of Jaws or anything like that. And if we do, obviously they're going to be bosses, which means they're going to be bigger and stronger than the regular goons that you fight in.
However, none of them are bulletproof.
No.
So, however that works, you go, bloody hell, you've got to take on Jaws. You cannot have a gun while you're doing it. Because if you shoot him, he still dies. Unless you keep on shooting him in the mouth like an idiot.
I mean, I assume by that route you'd have to do like environment stuff. So you just
so like
get out of the way,
come into the room and he immediately like whips the gun out of your hand, and then you've got to like it's like Batman in that sense. You've got to
like Mr. Freeze and stuff.
Yeah, like I've got to put him into the fire, and then I've got to smash him around the head with the thing, or I've got to drop this on him.
Yeah.
Or instead of it just being like, oh, it's just a guy with like a metal jaw, like metal teeth. Like it's someone who's got like an augmented jaw, so it's like a hydraulic, like cut through steel kind of thing.
Cool, actually, yeah.
So it's an augment rather than because again, like with Jaws, you can't bite through a cable because you don't have the jaw strength to bite through a cable. It doesn't matter what your teeth are made out of; you're still going to be able to cut through it.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got a hydraulic jaw that can just cut through anything, then that's a significantly more. It's not a stupid thing to do, but
it is. But it's what's special about this villain. Well, it's this thing, and that's all it.
I know, but if Jaws is just a goon that you go up against, and you end up like kicking them off a cliff, and they get their face caught on something and get their jaw ripped off, and then like the evil roboticist that you're there to try and take down rebuilds his jaw, and then bang, there's your Jaws. That's
an origin
fine.
story as well.
Exactly. You kind of creating your own villains as you go, and it's classic villains.
Or it's the shark from the other film.
Shark.
Jaws.
Oh. Bruce.
But yeah, he goes on to say he doesn't want to go too much into it. Blah blah blah.
Anything in terms of dates?
Nothing.
Like that?
No, currently no release date. But we do know Ubisoft veteran Rodrigo Santoro was hired earlier this year to be mission director for the game. As for the next James Bond movie, chances are good that Project 007 may come out first.
Well,
so it's got to be.
No Time to Die came out in like 2021, I want to say. Maybe even 2020?
No, on 2020 because that's COVID.
No, but that's what I mean. I'm sure it came out like.
I went to the cinema.
Yeah, it would have been 21 then, yeah. Because it was just after.
So maybe like another 2 years before we start seeing rumours. Well, I mean, we've already had the rumours of who's going to be the new Bond, haven't we? So.
I know, but until there's a confirmed casting, then they're not going to start filming anything.
No,
they're
but I mean,
have pre-production.
But they're already looking at doing stuff. That's what.
But I mean. that's a huge announcement. That's like it's I think maybe it is like one of the biggest kind of casting announcements that there is. Like this is going to be like the next blah because it's been going on for so long, and it's worldwide news when it happens.
I mean, I suppose this is like the only things you could compare it to would be like who's the new Wolverine, who's the new Spider-Man, who's the new Batman.
But that's only relevant to a small portion of
that's
moviegoers,
but
isn't it?
Like, that's the closest casting thing I can think of, other than Superman, etc. But
like a Superman, a Batman, maybe. But if you go, well, I don't watch comic book movies, but
yeah.
But most people of all ages have seen most, if not at least one Bond film.
I mean, there's too many of them.
I mean, if you're English, it's like a legal requirement. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure you get deployed if you don't. But but it's something that even if you're not a Bond fan, you'll have a comment to say about who the new Bond is.
Yeah.
And I don't, like I say, even though like the superhero ones are probably the closest thing in terms of scale, I think the Bond announcement is a much bigger deal.
Well, considering again, it's been about 20 years since we've had the last one, because it would have been early 2000s when Craig was driven up the Thames as like, bang, here's your new Bond.
Do you remember that with one of the news reports for that? And I can't remember what the actual thing was, but it was basically because he had a life jacket on. It was like, it's not very, it's like not very James Bond, is it?
The sun or something.
Yeah, it was like, he's not really James Bond. He's still got to be safe.
You want to drown an actor.
But yeah, I mean, hopefully we get this game soon, and they could be waiting off this as well to see. Maybe they get some tips for how the new film will be. Like if this is set back in the day, and people go mental for it, maybe they do it back in the day for the new film.
Maybe, or just maybe they just try and differentiate it. So they go, right, well, this one's set in the modern day because the film is going to be set back in the 80s or whatever.
I'm looking forward to it, though.
I'm looking forward to both, frankly.
Moving on, though, Dan. We had a very, very, very brief conversation about this the other day over text messages. Steam now warns customers they're buying a license, not a game, before they continue to payment. Now, this isn't brand new information. This has been a thing that's existed long into the digital game market and movies and everything else. But something with Californian law going into effect in 2025, but Steam have kind of jumped the gun and they've put it on the store now. The change to Steam comes after California Governor Gavin Newsom signed a law forcing digital marketplaces to make it clear to customers that when they buy media, they only buy a license to that media. The law AB 2426 prohibits online storefronts from using the words buy, purchase, or any other term which a reasonable person would understand to confer an unrestricted ownership interest in the digital good.
Now, I assume then, Callum, that this only applies to the American versions of Steam.
So,
I'm going to have a look right now. Because if I go on the store, on the Steam store, if I go to Satisfactory, add to cart, view my cart, for my account, continue to payment, let's say just PayPal, sure. Continue. PayPal transactions are blah blah blah. Actually, I don't want to do that for something that if I end up actually clicking buy and it's 30 quid for something I don't want.
Just take my word for it, Dan.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't say.
I think it's literally just before you press. Yeah, I'm sure I want to buy it. Because it says here that while the law that sparked the change was signed in California, Steam appears to have taken the initiative and added the warning to various regions across the world, including the UK. Now, obviously, there was a big backlash. This followed a backlash after Ubisoft made a fuck up and it deleted the crew from players' libraries when the servers went offline, which meant even those who paid full price for the open world racer could no longer play it. Ubisoft eventually added offline modes to both the Crew 2 and the Crew Motorfest, but said it wouldn't bring back the original following its shutdown in March. So, this has always been a problem, though, and it's the biggest problem with digital media is you don't own it, and especially with things that require an internet service before you can even function. So, like Game Pass, we sing the praises to Game Pass, but if your internet's cut out, you can't play any of the games, even though you're paying it because it needs to make sure that you can play it. Yeah. But at any point, at any time, any game you got on your Steam library, on your PlayStation, on your Xbox, on your Switch, anything that's digital, they can take away, as is the case with
Callum,
Ubisoft.
It's interesting you say that because I had the exact same thing happen to me last week. So I was on Steam, and it came up at the top of Steam, and it said that you've got a notification or alert on your account, something like that. So I was trying to click into it, couldn't figure out what the hell it was on about. And then it was a couple of days later that it come up with like an auto pop-up to say, basically just so you're aware, Battlestar Galactica Deadlock has now been removed from your account because there's some issue with whatever. And I was like, what? Went into the library, and yeah, it only says purchase. It said purchase. What does it say now, actually? What's the wording of it? Where is it? Battlestar.
So how much did you pay for this?
It says purchase. It says purchase.
So it's back on again now. But you haven't got it.
No, I don't have it. No. I bought it through CD Keys, friend of ours. And I got the code, and it was in May 22, I think it was. And for seemingly no reason, Steam have just said, you can't have this anymore. And that's it. It's gone.
But you paid for it.
So I flagged this as CD Keys and said, I don't know what the fuck's going on. This has been taken off my account. Can you please... I like the game. I don't want a refund of it. Just give me another code or whatever. And they asked for some details yesterday that I managed to send over to them. So I'm waiting to hear back. But if they come back and say, well, it's according to our terms and conditions, like it's not us, it's a seller.
Yeah.
If that seller's account has been removed or deactivated, or they're doing something they shouldn't be doing or whatever, and your code is lost as a part of that, that's just a part of the terms and conditions and the risk of buying through a third-party seller, so tough tits. Then,
I don't know, though.
Theoretically, then, yeah, they could do that for basically anything I bought. Because they could just go, no.
Yeah. Which
and I can't do anything about it.
wouldn't be as bad if it was... You could play... I know, like, online games you can't play, but the single-player games that you've bought, why do they need to connect to just make sure that you own it? I wouldn't be playing it if I didn't fucking own it.
Well, that's the thing, though. But why, Callum, is there a difference... why is there no difference in price between me physically buying a copy of a disc that I would own, that cannot be affected by it being online or not, and me owning a digital one that is the same price, and yet that I do not own, and they could just say, you don't have this anymore, sorry.
If I'm basically renting it, I want to pay renting prices. So
permanent rental, sure.
Yeah. So you can pay 70 quid and keep it forever.
That cycles, and it will cycle out. But I haven't bought that, so I don't really mind.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, I was playing it, but I didn't pay for it. I don't really mind. I'm paying for the access to that service. And I'll never begrudge them having that as an option.
Yeah.
But that, as far as I'm concerned, I bought that. That was mine.
Yeah.
And now they've said, no, you can't have that anymore.
Well, we had that comment that I sent you, which is the only thing we really talked about this, was there was a comment on the story that said, if buying isn't owning, then pirating isn't stealing.
Correct.
And it is 100% accurate. And I'd never condone stealing anything like that, and we don't at PvP. But what's the fucking difference?
Yeah.
Because they basically stole off
us.
us.
If I don't own it, then how could I be stealing it off you?
Exactly. And
if I never owned it, if I went and nicked it for let's say it's Battlestar, just for the sake of argument. So it's like 14. I don't know how much is it at the moment. So at the moment that is $33.50. It ain't worth that. I'll tell you that. It's very good, but it ain't that good. Bloody hell. So let's say it's $33.50, right? So I pay $33.50 for that, and I own that.
Yeah.
Hold on, where was I going with that? What was I saying before that? I just got distracted.
It was like buying isn't stealing. No, buying isn't owning.
Yeah, so if I
stealing.
nicked that, then I'd understand if they revoked my access to it.
Yeah, they took it off.
It was found out to be a illegitimate code, or you can't connect to the internet with it or whatever. Then sure, but surely that's my security as a consumer.
Yeah.
That I own something. Like if you go and buy a car and the dealership just goes, no, and they can't just come and repossess it off you, can they?
Yeah.
Like unless The only thing is that unless in the terms and conditions of any purchase that you make through Steam is on the expressed condition of you do not own this item, and at any point for whatever reason or no reason, we can just remove this. But then why am I paying for something that I'm not permanently having access to?
This happened with somebody in Australia who seemingly was the only person that ever looked through the terms and conditions on Steam. And this was but many, many, many years ago. And then the same person then looked through terms and conditions on PlayStation. I don't think it was on Switch, could have been Wii U, but on Nintendo, on Xbox. They're all basically the same wording. But if that's the case, and I'm fine with it being a thing within digital media, whether it's movies, music. iTunes did it where they put that U2 album on everybody's iPod and then took it off. So what the fuck you doing? Like, you can't access my iPod. But I'm fine with that as long as I'm not paying full price. Like, if it's a tenner for the brand new Call of Duty, yeah, I'll pay a tenner and run the risk of not having it in a few years' time. It's only 10 quid, isn't it?
But how do you differentiate that, though? Like, how do you mark a price for something that's as a rental own and a permanent own?
Well,
because there's no difference in that other than the fact that, well, with this one we can technically take off you whenever
that's what I mean. Like, there isn't.
You're basically paying for offline privileges.
That's the price you pay. It's not like you can pay 70 quid or you can pay 10 quid. It's just 10 quid. If you want to pay 70 quid, buy the physical one.
Yeah.
But even then, some games...
Digital media is overtaking physical media by a significant margin anyway. Like, physical media is not going to be around for much longer. Like, most computers and things like that, they're not coming with disk drives anymore because they're relevant.
I suppose stuff like that is more relevant to, like a PlayStation or Xbox or a Switch or whatever. But, like, we've had this argument for a long time, like, particularly on PlayStation. Why am I paying $69.99 for God of War Ragnarok on a digital PS5 when it's 52 quid in Sainsbury's if I go and buy the physical one? It's like, it should always be cheaper than the physical one. Always. Yeah. No matter whether that's a CD album, whether it's a Blu-ray, doesn't matter what it is, the digital equivalent should be cheaper. Because there's nothing else to it. It's always baffled me, but it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone because it's been a thing. You should always read the terms and conditions. That's in South Park.
Yeah.
The human Sentai pad.
Yeah.
And it's, I can say all of this and I'm still going to go along and I'll buy something off Steam because that's just what we do. But doesn't make it right, Dan. Doesn't make it right.
No.
Not good.
No, it doesn't. And I think it sets a dangerous precedent. But I think that potentially this is one of those things that's going to cause such an uproar almost immediately that it will get knocked on the head pretty quickly.
Well, look at Helldivers 2 with the mandatory PSN account. After people had already paid for the game. And then those countries weren't allowed to make a PSN account, so they weren't allowed to play the game. Yeah. And then it went from like the best rated game on Steam to the lowest rated game on Steam within like 24, 48 hours or something like that. This'll do the same thing. Steam will just get fucking trounced, and then they'll do something, I don't know. Speaking of PC, though, Dan, NVIDIA RTX 5000 leaked price. It's looking good. So for the handsome price of 2,500 great British pounds.
Good Lord.
And that is one of the rumours. The other rumour is nearly 3,000.
Just tell me something, Callum. What at the moment could that do that the 40s, or maybe even the 30s, like the late 30s, what can the 40 series not do that one can? I mean, surely that wouldn't support anything. It's like having a 4K TV in the year 2001.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, it's the best thing in the market, but nothing's going to really work for it properly for another 10 years.
I saw a lot of people when it was the Prime Day deals the other week. There was a lot of questions on like Reddit and stuff where people were asking, like, is anyone doing like a good 8K TV? Why? What 8K content have you got?
Yeah. You got 3 movies that came out in the last year. You get the Star Wars re-release on 8K.
It's fucking stupid. But yeah, apparently that's going to be the prices, which compared to the 4090 and 4080, which cost $1,500 and $1,200 at launch.
Remember when they were releasing these cards and they were like, these are going to be more powerful, but they're so much more affordable comparatively. Like, everyone will just jump on these, which they did. And now they've gone, actually, here's another one, and it costs more than you and your family's technology combined.
It is quite weird that NVIDIA's stocks actually went down just before the release of this rumoured news. Can't imagine it's gone up now.
Probably not. That's not affordable for anyone for a long time.
No, is it? Nothing. Like, for that price, even if you just keep it to the 2,500, that's an amazing complete PC. That's a monitor, keyboard.
I was going to say
mouse,
that's your whole
everything.
setup,
yeah,
and a desk.
Can you imagine if this is your first PC? It's going to cost you about 10 grand for everything. Which is shocking that like a third of that is just the card.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, you can't. That would be like, you can't just buy that to upgrade into. Like, you're buying everything.
Yeah,
that's everything. That is. Like, your PSU would support your motherboard. Your case probably isn't big enough for it.
I don't think my living room's big enough for it.
You have to start from that and work upwards.
Yeah.
That's how you'd have to calculate it, which it wouldn't be worth it. So if anyone goes and buys it, it's purely it's either a status thing or it's the thing that's somehow going to make... Like, Call of Duty isn't going to look any better on that than it is on the 2080.
I was watching like Linus Tech Tips, and for the first time in, I think, about 10 years, he's got an iPhone as his daily driver phone, and he got the iPhone 16, and then all of the comments on the podcast when they're talking about it, and it's like all of the comments have just been, why have you just got the 16? Why haven't you got the Pro Max? And he says, well, I'm just going to address it all now. This does everything that the Pro Max does. It's just got a smaller screen.
Yeah.
The only difference, and it hasn't got the camera button on the side or something like that. And then everyone's telling me he's wrong. You're like, he's a tech reviewer. He knows what the fuck he's talking about. But that's what this would be, where you've already hit it on the head and you've gone, what can't the 4090 do that this can? Nothing. Nothing. Even when it come out.
No one will be developing anything for something
exactly.
that would... Because they know that what would be the point? They go, oh, it's all these incredible features and this quantum ray tracing that makes it look like it's real life. And you go, oh, but no one can afford to play that. Okay, well, that's fucking useless then, isn't it? Basically, you're making a game that can't be really played by the mass market for 10 years.
Well, the rumoured specs for the 5090 is going to be a 600-watt power part with 21,760 CUDA cores with 32 gigabyte memory at GDR7.
Does that exist?
I'm pretty sure it doesn't yet. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, no, yeah. So this would be the first GPU to hit the market with GDDR7 memory.
Right. I was going to say, I've never heard of that before, so they're just making up letters now and just going, yeah, you need this as well, yeah.
But it's if it comes out and it isn't this much and it's 1,500 quid, I'll go, that's still expensive, but...
It's worth an upgrade, maybe.
Yeah. But not that much. You could buy a really decent second-hand car for that much.
Absolutely. That's a deposit.
Yeah. It's scary how stupid people are, though. Because this will sell out.
Unfortunately. Yeah, of course it will, instantly.
As the 40 did, 30s did, 20s did. This will be no different. And I dare say, it will be amazing. But is it good value to performance? That's where the question's at. And you can,
it's always going to be that.
Yeah. And when you can go from a 3070 up to a whatever this will be, a 5 whatever, you find that middle ground of what performs now and what will perform in the future, and then look at the cost and everything else, what you actually need it for. We won't talk too much about it now, but I've got This M7 Pro mini PC from GM Tech that they sent this week, and I've been doing some tests and stuff. And it does everything that my PC does. And again, not to spoil the review or anything, I wouldn't swap it for it but that's not what it's for. But runs DaVinci Resolve perfectly. It plays games really fucking well. And if you could do that on this, imagine if you could somehow get the power of a 3080 or something in something this small. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I don't want a fridge on my fucking desk. But I suppose that's a different conversation, though. But yeah, it's going to be expensive, mate. I don't think I'll be upgrading to it anytime soon.
Again, it's the same thing for me. As soon as I have a need to.
Yeah.
If I don't have the need to, or if I do upgrade, it will be a significant leap. Because obviously I went from a 1070 to a 3080 Ti.
But bearing in mind how long you held off for that, though.
True. I mean, again, it's all, as always, it comes down to either it's broken, therefore I replace it, or the right deal comes along, and I'll go for it. But to get that kind of jump, it would be leaving the 30s and going into the 50s.
Yeah.
But the only time that would be relevant is usually when the 60 or the 70s are out, because that's the only time that such an upgrade would be worth it.
Yeah. Because we might be forced into that camp a bit sooner if, depending on where games go, and it will go 20s and 30s aren't supported anymore. It's only the 40s and 50s. I can't see that happening personally.
Unlikely, but I know what you mean.
Especially as AMD would just swoop in and just go the RX equivalent. Still supported, guys. Come on over.
That's very much an Apple model of just, okay, well, the old ones, we don't want people to have those anymore. So you buy the newer ones or tough.
I mean, to be fair, the last few years, Apple have, they're still supporting, back to, iPhone 11, I think, is still supported for updates and stuff. Doesn't necessarily improve the devices, but security and everything else is still updated. And Android's, I think, is only 7 years.
Well, think about it. If you just got a message that popped up on GeForce that just said, as of 2 months from now, this GPU will no longer work. And you just have to buy a new one. Otherwise, nothing will work on it anymore.
I'll tell you that much. Tell you what I wasn't happy with when I set this mini PC up. It only occurred to me after I've installed a few games, played them a little bit to get them set up and get to a point where I can just record for the review. And I was like, this ain't going to have shadow play on it, is it? Because it's AMD.
Oh, yeah, of course. Have they not got their own screen recorder?
Yeah, it's like Relive or Relive, I don't know how you pronounce it, but it doesn't open. Downloaded it, went to the AMD website, downloaded it. Not in there. Cool. So, OBS it is.
Sure.
Failing that, I'll just capture card it to the other PC and record it as an input that way. But
yeah.
It was like that moment where I was like, I could never switch to AMD full time because shadow play is genuinely very good and very convenient and excellent quality, and it's free. And if it's not going to work on an AMD thing, then it's no good, mate. Do you remember the old Bandicam days?
Unfortunately, I'm sure I've still got my license for that knocking around somewhere.
I mean, Shadowplay didn't exist then, Dan. So,
yeah,
it was the OG Shadowplay. Anyway, I don't really have anything else. Have you watched Penguin yet? No, it's very good. You should definitely watch it. And Beetlejuice.
Has it finished yet?
We still got a few episodes to go.
Okay. I think it's the same with Agatha. I'll get it all out of the way one big go, I think.
Agatha's got to be nearly done. I think we're on 5 or 6. Was the one I watched today? I can't remember. So we're going to have 3 or 2 left.
Sure.
I can't remember. I don't think I've watched anything else of importance.
Honestly, no, neither have I. I've been busy, honestly. I just haven't had a chance to really kind of commit to anything. Same with games. I had a bit of a go on, what was it? Trans-Siberian Railway. There's a demo for that. There's Train Simulator 5. That's quite good. I've been playing a lot of Sifu.
Yes.
Because I'm actually getting quite good at that now. Like I'm pretty sure I could go back and get I might be able to even get through the first level. Certainly not the second one, but certainly the first one. I think I could get through without losing more than a year or two.
I haven't played it since the last podcast. I think I've got worse.
It's a practice thing. It is. Like, as soon as you start to memorize those combos, it does get a bit easier.
The only things I've played are when I was setting up this M7 Pro. I've played a bit of Shadow of the Tomb Raider, a bit of Halo Infinite, a bit of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3,
Doom,
Fortnite, Doom, and Wolfenstein. And that's like however long it takes to get past like the opening of each game.
Yeah.
With the exception of Ori, which just loaded up the safer because I started playing that again a few weeks ago. That's a nice easy one. But I forgot how long the intro to Shadow of the Colossus is.
What do you mean with the bit where you're in 1940 whatever?
Yeah.
But that's still cool though.
No, I still love the game. I still love it, but can't skip it. And there's a bit of fucking Tomb Raider. And I didn't put my headphones on when I did Tomb Raider, so I couldn't hear anything that was going on. But like that bit seemed to take so fucking long.
Is that when you're scaling the ice wall?
You've done the scaling at the beginning, and then you break out the thing, and then you're taking the photos with the guy, the big chap. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
And then you end up in like the Day of the Dead festival.
Yes. Yeah, and there's like a big there's like a flood, isn't there? There's like a big tsunami. So that's really good opening that is. Yeah.
All of that stuff. Halo wasn't too bad. Call of Duty, there's no fucking intro. Straight. Tell you what was annoying though. I haven't properly played a Call of Duty game for a long time. When I'm Game Pass, downloaded this, and then it's like, buy the Battle Pass. I don't want to buy the Battle Pass. If you get the Battle Pass, you get all of this. Yeah, but I want all of this.
All over it. It's absolutely constant.
I had to scroll down like 6 times to find the campaign, and then it closes the game and opens it again.
Yeah, because it's a separate launcher for it, basically. It's the same as Warzone. Like, if you go into Warzone, it will close it and then reopen it as Warzone. Which is, I get it, if this is supposed to, so there's a Call of Duty hub.
Yeah.
And you can access Warzone, you can access Black Ops, you can access Modern Warfare, and then all the archive of the old games maybe or something. I get that, because then you just select whichever one you want to go, and then it just reopens and launches that.
That's that, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm not sure, what I'm going to double check actually is, speaking of Prime Day whatevers, I did get a Western Digital
You did.
S20 280 NX, I think it is, M.2 NMVE. So Call of Duty is actually installed to the G drive at the moment, which is just my Western Digital 5TB drive.
Yeah.
But that 1TB that I've just installed, so that's an M.2 as like a new for like your flight simulators, things that need rapid kind of load ups. I think I'm going to uninstall Call of Duty because the loading and like the loading of the shaders and stuff like that is an absolute fucking ball ache. I'm going to uninstall it. I'm going to reinstall it on the M.2 and see if that makes any difference. Because honestly, like doing it with Age of Empires a couple of months ago, because that was just on the Western Digital.
Yeah.
It was almost immediate, and I was like, "Oh, what a dickhead! Why have I not been doing this the whole time?" But the OS is on there, and there's a bunch of other sort of like main file save stuff on there, so I can't really use that for much. So with this, those bigger ones that I can kind of like, I'm pretty sure I don't have Flight Simulator installed at the moment, but I'll get hankering for it in a couple of weeks or a couple of months.
That's the beauty of fiber optic as well, though, Dan. Is the fact
Smash
that
it on there.
Full fiber, sorry, not fiber optic. Is that you've got the space now? You have got a new M.2. You've got all the extra space. Even if you just put it on the normal hard drive, doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
take about an hour to download Flight Simulator, if that. Compared to the 7 days it was before.
Yeah, which is it's just not a bad thing by any means.
But I didn't get anything on the Prime Day deals. Nothing struck me, Daniel.
Yeah.
As you can tell, I've still got my sellotape headphones on.
Bit of I've got some bits for the cat. Couple of bins because the cat has now reached a certain length where she can get into the bin.
Oh no!
So I've had to buy bigger bins with lids on them. So I had to buy those as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I didn't utilise a huge amount.
Nah, I missed out on a few things. There was a pair of Sony WX something headphones that I wanted to get, but they're only like 20 quid off, so they're still like nearly 200 quid. And I'm like,
it's not worth it then, is it?
Well,
it's not really a discount. That
it was
amazing Prime Day deal or whatever.
Yeah, I mean there was some better deals. It was more annoying because afterwards I was like, I mean, to be fair, you use them enough, so it's not like they wouldn't get used. And I was like, there's no point telling me now, it's finished. They've gone back up again now. But I just don't think I could justify that much on a pair of headphones.
Again, if mine are done, I probably could. Because I listen to them a lot.
Yeah.
Like go to work, be back from work, playing games, whatever. So I could, in the same way that I can justify spending a lot on a PC. It's getting used every day.
That's different though. Like with headphones, like I got like my Sennheisers that were in this box, like under the PC part, and they were my most expensive headphones I ever bought. They're very, very expensive, and they're in pieces, and they lasted like half a year.
Yeah,
and they never left the house. They literally just got used for like gaming and editing and podcasting and stuff. And then one day, the inside of the left one just fell apart. So it was like, great. And to be fair, these same things, but I think these fell on the floor with these ones at some point.
Yeah, I try and be careful because that's inevitably what's going to have to happen.
So I'll look at some. I'll get some. But yeah, I didn't get anything on the Prime Day deals though. Speaking of reviews though, Dan, we've had a new review that's gone up on the website and on the YouTube channel. And that is for the R36S portable console. It's a very cool little thing, so go and check that out. While you're there, you can have a look at some other things, including the Mayono G1 Neo audio mixer. That's up there. And we've got some more reviews coming up, and even more in the future, and more Let's Plays and other things. It's all going along the bottom of the screen. Dan, got anything you want to add in?
No.
Then we will leave it bloody there then.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We've only got another 4 more episodes, Dan, and then it's your takeover.
Oh, can't wait.
It's going to be good, and I will remind you, don't worry.
Thank you.
We'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.